Hi, Elysia from the Lorehounds here, back with Jean and Aaron to get into the details of Full Nelson, the Peacemaker Season 2 finale after a solid week of reflection.
Hi, Aaron here. Check out part 1 of our finale reaction released last week, where the topic of debate was the Season 2 Peacemaker finale. Did we like it? Where my answer was mostly.
And we all know I didn't. Hi, I'm Jean, last week's finale hater. Do I still feel the same a week later? Let's find out, because this is Comics Versus discusses the DCEU.
So we're going to be jumping this time right into the Season 2 finale. All spoilers on the table, including anything from DC, movies, TV, or comics that we feel like bringing up. And let's check in with you, Aaron. How are you feeling a week later?
I think that this finale, much like the Foundation finale, has aged well. I think going back and rewatching it and having different expectations really kind of saved the episode for me. Not that it was completely lost before in my head. I still liked the majority of it, but this is one of those finales that I had such different expectations for it coming in from episode 7, and knowing that the episode is so different from what I had thought it would be gave me a fresh pair of eyes going back and looking at it again. So I do think that that week of reflection was helpful, and I like the show a lot better.
Okay. And what about you, Sean? How are you feeling?
I think I feel better about the finale now, a week later. I watched it twice during this past since we last recorded. And I think that now I feel much like Aaron did, like taking away what I kind of wanted to see. I think I understood where and why the things happened the way that they happened. Was I happy with most of the things that happened? No. But do I think it was, and I didn't think it was a bad finale in the first place. I just didn't like it. I still don't think it's a bad finale. Does it rank up there in episodes of Peacemaker in my top 5? No. But I understand the setup now a little bit better, I think.
Yeah, people seem to have been especially thrown by the montages, which I like a good montage. But I guess maybe I feel like maybe the wind was taken out of my sails a little bit. I still like it, but I'm also less like, I'm just kind of, I don't know. I feel a little deflated, I suppose. Because I've been on such a high with the DCU so far, and I do like the finale, and I'm excited to see where we're going next. I do wish that they would just tell us there's a checkmate show coming or something. But I suppose my biggest thing is when I look back on the season, like I was holding space for goodwill for characters like Red Saint Wild, and then looking back, I'm like, well, why was that character even there? Why couldn't have, like, we just had Flurry feuding with Eagly for some reason or something like that, where we can. I think that what we missed was the best moments were when we got our favorite characters interacting. When we got Adebayo, Judo Master, and the two Vigilantes. When we got Vigilante and Flurry. I would have liked more than that, and I do hope that James Gunn and the other DCU writers and Warner Brothers Entertainment, because obviously he doesn't make these decisions in a vacuum, that they're looking at the responses to this season and seeing what got the strongest responses and are like, hey, maybe we should just give them a checkmate TV show where we just get to see these characters have fun together and be stupid while going on adventures,
Yeah. No, I think that's my biggest fear is, again, I don't know how we'll see the 11th Street crew again in the DCU.
I bet we will in Lantern.
No, I'm sure that we'll see them. I'm sure that we're going to see them.
But focus.
But how exactly? And I enjoy them so much that I want, when I see them on screen, to be about them. And I don't know if when we see them on screen again, it's going to be about them. That's just my feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I'm happy for them to show up in Lanterns and Man of Tomorrow, but yeah, I agree with you. That's why I want the Checkmate show. I want something that is just for them. It's like, this is a show where we're focused on these characters, not
Right.
Superman.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Right.
I think that there's equally a danger of the Checkmate show if it does end up happening becoming about rescuing Chris, and I hope that that's not the direction that they would take with that.
Right. Right. I mean, yeah, I guess yeah, that is a thing. Well, maybe they would have to hold the show until after Man of Tomorrow, because I presume, Chris is there. He's presumably going to be starting the building of whatever on that side and figuring that side out. And I'm assuming that, I don't know if Lanterns will already start that, or we have no idea what Clayface is going to be at all.
Right.
I don't know if anything before Man of Tomorrow is going to introduce more people to that setting yet, or if we have to wait until
Man of
2027 for
Tomorrow.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'd say the community also had a mixed bag of reactions, as what we expected. So we are going to check in with what some people said from our community at the end. But I wanted to start with talking a little bit more about some more things that were brought up in that interview that you shared, Sean, the
Yeah.
Scream Brief interview
Yeah.
with James Gunn. And one thing is, this actually does kind of dovetail to something we were talking about privately before we got on. But so talking about Augie and about whether or not Augie is a good guy or a bad guy, or, so James Gunn says, when Augie gives his speech at the end of episode 7, some people judge very harshly and other people think he's a hero. I don't know if he's either of those things. I think he's a good man and who is trying to fight in small ways, but doesn't think he can win anything bigger than that. I think that speaks directly to hardcore and especially Economos. If you want the world to be a better place, you don't do it by telling somebody they're evil. That's not the way you do it. And Peacemaker is the kind of guy who says a lot of things that if I had met him at a party, I would have said, "Who's that fucking asshole over there?" And I would have gotten an argument with him. But I think that you see he's a good person. He's good. So, I mean, I do agree with this, like, that you don't win people over by telling them they're bad people, even if you disagree with some things they think. But I disagree with the idea that Augie doesn't think he could have done anything, because he's like the most influential person in his world from what we've seen.
I would agree with that. I think if you have the resources to be doing more and you're making the choice not to, that puts you in the category of a bystander who maybe is not quite doing enough. And that's where I see alternate universe Augie falling into.
So my response to that is what would Augie have done if Adebayo was not from an alternate universe?
Right. Exactly. That's a good question. That's a good question. He said, "I taught you not to chase whatever," but does he help people? There are people who were on our Discord and other places who were theorizing, like, what if he actually had some sort of underground railroad system to filter people out of that reality or something.
Yeah, but I didn't see any hints of that.
No.
We didn't see any hints of that.
No.
So again, that's just my question. What would the conversation have been like between him and Keith if these people were not from an alternate universe and Keith was chasing a black woman who had escaped whatever gulag she was imprisoned in? Would he have been as comforting in his, approach, or would he have, been very happy to have Keith chase down this woman and return her to where she quote unquote belonged? So that's my question to James Gunn when he says he's a good man. What does that mean? He's a good man. There were many good men who turned a blind eye to people being whipped. What does that mean? He's a good man.
Yeah.
What does that?
Yeah.
What does that say?
So I guess we can say that our opinions on alternate Augie remain the same.
Yes. I'm not swayed.
No, I'm not. I mean, but like, it could be if there's just a little more thought and backstory put into it, you can convince me he's a more complex character than we've seen so far. But there
Yeah,
just wasn't the
absolutely.
space given to that.
I think that's my point. I think, we just can't. I'm not going to assume that he's a good man, because what I've seen from him did not give me the markers of being a quote unquote good man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Being better than his alternate universe version is not a very high bar to set,
Yeah. He's better than
Rock
Chris's
bottom
dad.
clearance. Yeah.
Yes. Let's make that clear. We're not saying he's the same as the Augie that
No.
we knew.
Mm-hmm.
We're not saying that. I'm not saying that. But
No. I don't think any of us are. No.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll leave that there. But we did get an answer to a question that we had also from this interview about the kyphotic alien. James Gunn said, he's just a janitor. He just works in some building in his dimension, and the rats are very toxic. So you're not supposed to burn them. So he goes to the quantum chamber and burns them there because they are toxic vermin.
It's very confusing to me.
It's just for the waving joke.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think there could have been like these little characters who were just in there for some joke could
Right.
have been shaved or combined to have it feel, the overall season, have it feel more concentrated and cohesive. And I think that would have made the finale land better because we could have focused on that group. Even if like the kyphotic alien joins them, that would be hilarious. Have him instead of Red Sea and Wild.
Right.
Totally.
Mm-hmm. And James Gunn also said that Gut Chase, Adrian's brother, was almost in this season. It sounds like he really sucks. And that there were even scenes written but cut for Peacemaker's mom. So I'm assuming these are going to be two characters that we're going to see in the future.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. You better just be nicer to his mom in the future.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, right?
Listen to Adebayo on that. Should we stop calling her Adebayo since I guess she's like officially getting divorced? Like, what are her friends going to call her now? Are they going
Lee?
Yeah, I guess. But then, like, well, I don't want to repeat what Vigilante said about that
No,
dude's mom. Okay, let's get into the episode itself. Season 2, Episode 8, Full Nelson. We're going to go plot arc by plot arc, not scene by scene. Again, written by James Gunn, of course, like all the episodes. This was one of the 3 episodes also directed by James Gunn. The other 2 were episodes 1 and 6. So these were his 3 most important episodes. And this was by far the longest of the season. It was more than 57 minutes. But it got the lowest rating of the season overall. We're standing at 6.7 now, which, I mean, not surprising considering all of the debate that we've been having about it ourselves.
Yeah.
Jean, do you want to set up the first part?
Yeah, sure. The boat party, finally. 1 month before the start of season 2, Chris and Hardcore are out grabbing a bite to eat, which turns into shots. Yeah, shots. But not the gunshots, but the nice shots.
Liquor shots.
Which turns into, because Peacemaker, you never know when we say shots what that means. Which turns into a walk around town. While out, Chris spots a boat party featuring the band Nelson, and he convinces Hardcore to go with him. They're buzzed, having a great time, until they share a moment and a kiss, and a freaked out Hardcore runs away.
So first of all, shout out to Big Belly Burger, just pointing out that's a DC mainstay that we've seen in like everything from Blue Beetle to, I guess it showed up also
The Flash,
in
all over the CW shows, which was really cool to see in this one.
And I have to point out, someone online pointed out that it says on the door established in 1966, which is the year that Peacemaker's made his debut in the comics.
Nice catch. Nice.
Yeah, someone else's credit. Sorry, I didn't write down the name, but but yeah, we touched on this last week. But before the kiss, this was the most relaxed we've seen Harcourt in the show in general or overall. Like, because we talked about how she softened during that season 1 finale recovery, that whole thing. But of course, she freaked out because Chris killed Rick, and this set up Harcourt's state of mind going into the season. Okay. If you were in that Big Belly Burger when Chris and Hardcore were there and he started doing the whole thing where singing to her badly, everyone was giving disgusted faces, but like I would have been laughing, right? Like at least some people would have been laughing.
I mean,
I would have been pretty annoyed. I can't lie. I would have wondered why they weren't cut off. There would just be a lot of questions in my mind.
I mean, I might have laughed. I might have also thought about why is this jacked up, steroid Hulk Hogan looking guy singing this song, and I'm just trying to enjoy my burger. So yeah, I'm just that was like peak, like, yeah, I don't give a fuck, right? Like I'm here for you, and I don't care what anybody else has to say, and that's there's something to that.
Hmm. It was we touched on this last week also, but it was good to see that Chris stopped Hardcore from starting a fight on the way out. Like he knew definitely when he accused her of the roof party that she was doing that, fighting random dudes in bars shenanigans.
Right.
It does seem like he's good for her. So it's a shame, of course. As soon as they get together, they have to be torn apart because we can't have happiness in television.
No.
It was also interesting to note that Hardcore, she was too into guns to know about music, we learned, versus Earth X Amelia was too into books to know about music. So their common trait is neither of them knows about music, but for different reasons. They're just
Right.
like, music, not my thing. Don't care. I do think I liked that Hardcore calls Chris out for not being nicer to Adrian.
Yeah.
And Chris
Somebody had
says,
to do it.
yeah, somebody had
Right.
to do it. And even though Hardcore is not that nice either, as he points out. And Chris says he doesn't think Adrian is in love with him. I think that answers, had that question. I know a lot of other people have had that question, but more that he's just looking for a big brother because it sounds like Gut Chase was terrible.
Yeah.
Do you think, I mean, we see kind of both Adrian and Eagly transferring their affections to Economos when Chris disappears at various times. Do we think this is going to help Economos grow?
No.
No?
I have no hope for John. I have no hopes for him.
What about you,
I
Aaron?
think he is who he is. No.
I mean, we've seen him grow already. So he's standing up for he put his neck on the line a few times for Chris.
Okay.
For him, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I guess.
What do you?
I think Economos is never going to get to the point that we want him to be at, but he's certainly made progress. I don't want to completely hate on the guy. He's doing what he can.
How sad was Sad Eagly hiding in the closet?
Yeah, that was terrible. That was really terrible.
I liked how they did the whole thing where Economos is like looking through the house, opening all these doors, and you're like, what is he looking for? And then you realize, like, oh,
Yeah,
Sad Eagly's
Eagly.
sad. Well, and
Not
then
even lunch meat could help him.
Yeah. And then just as you're like feeling really sad, then you get from Steel Panther, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, it's never going to stop being funny to me. Aaron, do you want to set up the scene that plays while that's happening?
Absolutely. Knock, knock, knocking on Destruction's door. In the present day, Argus has rounded up a large special ops team that includes Harcourt, Flurry, and Judo Master, with Economos, Sasha, Happerson, and the rest of Lex's crew supporting Flag back in the DCU. Rick is sending the ops team to check all the doors in the QUC. When they find that one's open, Rick sends them in to check what's inside. Starting with Klein, who at least got to drive a motorboat recently, who gets taken out by the imps of Candyland mentioned in episode 1. As zombie worlds and other horrors follow, more agents go down, and Flurry can't help but notice how little Rick Flag cares. Until finally Harcourt's team finds what Flag is looking for, a wooded world that looks much like our own. She's not quite ready to accept that Flag might want to use this world for nefarious purposes.
So first of all, to give you credit, Aaron, I did put a little interjection in the last episode, but you were absolutely right that Sasha does end up joining Harcourt's team and exploring and finding.
Yeah.
It was her, Harcourt, and Angler, aka Titties, who discovered what's it called?
Salvation.
Salvation. Thank you.
Yeah, I think they could have put a little bit more emphasis on that to show that Flag was even willing to put her in danger.
Right.
Mm. Or
Right.
maybe she even volunteered at that point.
That's
Because
true.
she was getting increasingly horrified. Or I suppose they were also just running out of agents.
That's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, because that is a thing. Like that's the thing. I do love a good montage, but it does mean that you're speed running the plot. Whereas maybe we could have had less. Not to keep picking on Red Saint Wild, but there's some things that the time could have been used elsewise. Yeah.
Yeah.
We see also Rick Flags no longer paying any lip service to the Call Me Rick game. He's like, huh? What? Oh, yeah, no, I'm done with that. And I just like, so I believe he loves his son. I do, that he loved his son. But shouldn't he be kinder to his closest friends? Like, isn't he's striking me as a little sociopathic?
Yeah, it just that just felt off to me still on the rewatches, that Rick was so firmly, Lex's puppet, really.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there are scenes that I watch Rick Flag's face, and he looks absolutely demonic and possessed. He just
Yeah.
does. Like there's something else controlling him, and it's it's he's expressing this glee, this joy, being around Lex's cohorts and flunkies. It's just really, there's nothing in this season that gave me any idea that he would be this down to be doing what Lex wants him to do, because this is what he's actually doing. He's doing what Lex wants him to do. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But there was nothing leading up to the Lex reveal that made me feel that he was going to go down this path with such glee and such vigor. Like he's just full out, twirling mustache villain right now. And I just didn't, I don't know, I didn't see it happening in the way that you saw it happening, because you called him a villain from the get. But I just really was confused as to why he is so far embracing this Lex ethos of kicking all metas off the planet at this particular time. And I know what happened in Soups, and he was, at the end of the movie, like, oh, look what the Soups are doing, blah, 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 blah. But even then, it's just like, was this his goal from the end of Soups to the end of this series? There was nothing in between that to show me this direction that he would go into. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It just felt like, okay, now I want to kick everybody off the planet. But in between the last 7 episodes, where was that? In the 7 episodes before this, where was that, emotion? Where was that feeling? Where was that drive? I never saw it.
Yeah, it's a little bit like the last season of Game of Thrones, that we have this destination that we never quite got the journey for. We never got the explanation of how we ended up where we ended up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm inclined to personally lean into thinking like, so Rick is just really enjoying being part of Lex's crew,
But why?
just being like the insider big man who can tell himself he's doing something good for humanity, but gets to like feel like a big man doing it. But I do have to say that Josh Liu brings up an interesting theory that I will gladly entertain when we get to the comments later. So,
and one last thing about Rick Flag is, it's just that, I understand the entire season, I understood and understand why he's going after Peacemaker in the way that he's going after Peacemaker. I get that. But to put Peacemaker on Salvation and then say all metas, I'm going to put all metas on Salvation. When one, Peacemaker is not a meta, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he killed your son, so you want that vengeance. I get it.
Right, but they also said, like, ooh, the optics are bad if we only do metas, so they have to do, quote-unquote, regular people too, even though Peacemaker's a superhero still.
Right, but what I'm saying is that the entire season was about vengeance on Chris.
Right. No, I mean, that's his personal reason for doing it, but from the wider perspective, they're like, we can't only do metas because that's, that's clear
So then
metaism.
that's what I'm saying. When did he get on board in this season with we got to do this to the metas?
Well, I mean, that's the arc that I saw starting at the end of Superman, and we just keep seeing it reinforced this season. Like with the whole, when we saw him watching the news report about the breakouts of, Arkham and Belle Reve and stuff. And we, at the end of Superman, that whole conversation and the conversations throughout this season, he's been getting more and more anti-meta.
Yeah, it didn't feel that way to me. It just didn't. Okay. It didn't feel that way to me. I just felt like Rick Flag was the adversary of Chris and not the adversary of all meta humans on planet Earth, which he is now.
Yeah, I mean, ¿por qué no los dos?
Yeah.
I do a little stick up for Economos in supporting my argument that he is improving. Is we see him in this whole sequence, he does like start snapping back at Otis out of resentment. And I want to say they shouted out two members of Lex's team other than Happerson. Otis, who is played by, what's his face? The guy we know his face from something else. Anyway. Shall I look up his name? What's his name? Terrence Rosemore. We know him from Superman. No, I'm just kidding. Of course we know. He's in one episode of Atlanta. That's not it. I don't know. He's just like one of those guys. He was in Haunted Mansion. He was in Rebel Ridge, Nickel Boys. He's just one of those guys that's like shows up and everything. So I don't know. He's familiar to me. May mileage may vary. But anyway, they shouted out Otis and they shouted out, quote unquote, that McCoy chick who barely got any screen time in this. But that signals to me that maybe those three, Happerson, Otis, and McCoy, are going to play a bigger role in Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah, they're a pretty fun crew, especially their whole dynamic that they had with John when he was telling his jokes and trying to distract the whole crew. That might have been the funniest sequence in the whole season for me.
I guess McCoy was maybe the one in the credit scenes who laughed and laughed and laughed.
Yeah.
But yeah, we see Economos pushing back, and we see him also say, like, he's insisting, he's like, this is not safe. Like, this whole thing we're doing with the doors, like, the GPS and tech is out of range once they leave the DCU. Like, this is not safe operations that we should be conducting. But then we found out they're not going to use the QUC because Otis and the team have discovered a way to travel to Salvation without going through the QUC. And Jean, can we call this a boom tube, the new thing?
I refuse to do that. I'm not going to call it a boom tube. No.
Until they do?
Until they do, yes. Until I see boom. I need to see the boom. Tube. I need to hear the boom.
We heard the boom. When they opened it, it went boom.
I need, no, the boom is a boom. That was not a boom. That was just a boom. I need boom. You know what I'm saying? To explode on my screen. I need a bigger boom.
All the drugs.
I need a bigger boom. I need a bigger boom. That's what I'm saying. And then I need to see somebody step through it from the other side. Then it's a boom tube. You know what I mean?
All right. I'm going to go with boom tube for now.
I know you are.
I got the boom. Now they're doing the direct connection. I'm like, we've got a wormhole that booms. It's a boom tube for me until corrected otherwise. Oh, and then we got R.I.P. Klein, Ponyboy, QP, before he went out, we got this story.
Now, this stripper is not exactly a looker. You know what I'm saying, Blondie? On a scale of 1 to 10, she's a fucking scared cat emoji. But fucking Cupid, he don't care. He's drunk as fuck.
Dude, will you shut the fuck up about this?
He's sitting on the edge of the stage just staring at this fucking Mothra like with these big Pepe Le Pew heart-shaped eyes popping out of his skull.
Dude, you know they record this shit, right?
Well, that's great, man. You know, Blondie can enjoy it now, and who's ever listening can enjoy it later.
HR will love it.
I mean, she's right
Such
about
a
that.
jerk, man. Such a jerk.
Yeah. But then when Klein died, Fleury was genuinely upset. That kind of,
He was,
I mean,
yes.
It surprised me, but didn't, I suppose.
I mean, yeah, but he's still a jerk. You know what I mean? He should have been nicer to Klein in life. You know?
Yeah. I think for as much as he likes to jab at people and make inappropriate comments, he does care about the people who are around him, even if he's expressing that in really
the worst
not
possible
ideal
ways.
Yeah.
The worst possible ways.
Yeah. Did you guys notice that Judo Master was still wearing his suit under the hazmat suit?
I did. I did.
Do you think he ever
I don't think he
takes
takes it off. No.
I mean, does he shower in it? Like,
yes. Yes. It's
funny.
It's a part of him.
I'm sure it's hot because whenever you see pictures or whatever footage of the actor on set in between takes, he's always got it like off and wrapped around his waist. You know, I'm sure it's a hot thing to wear. Yeah. But the reason that they're going through all this is they are looking for.
I mean, do we even know what we're looking for?
They told us 1,000,000 times, John. Someplace safe to breathe with a food and water supply.
Yeah.
Someplace uninhabited.
Yeah, I know that, but for what?
I don't know, something that's worth it to the U.S. government because it has to be costing them tens of millions of dollars. Flag's able to okay a budget that big?
Not without approval from the Secretary of Defense.
Yeah, so I don't know what it's for. Environmental reasons, I guess. Resources, new ground for overpopulation. What?
When has anything we've ever done actually been for the good of the people?
This is a bit like...
That's a bar. Yeah. That's a bar right there, boy. Economos with the truth. That's the bar right there. See? When is anything we've ever done been for the good of the people?
Hashtag in defense of Economos. Okay, here's my question though. So they discover the salvation, and sure, you look around and you're like, yeah, it looks like this is definitely must have food and water because there's trees growing. But did they even go beyond the single field? They clearly
it didn't seem like it.
They were unaware that, you know, whatever we heard grumbling at the end, which comic readers have thoughts about for sure. But it doesn't look like there could be like a city, you know, an hour that way or whatever.
They say it's uninhabited. How do they know?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And by the end of the episode, we learn that uninhabited can mean a lot of things.
Yeah. May or may not have intelligent life or actively. But also, my other question is just who put these doors here and might they not be coming back?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the doors didn't grow organically there. Someone put it there.
Someone put the doors there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was cool to have. I know, like we've talked a lot before last week about Impception in Candyland, but it was cool to get the call back to the first episode where Augie mentioned there was an imp dimension with giant peppermint sticks that Chris was. So I guess I incorrectly. The door that they got the creature that they got the entrance to the QUC from when Chris was a child. I guess then that's not an imp. Could that have been somebody's minion?
I don't think so. Could be.
You think that species, whatever it was, is the one that invented the doors?
Maybe not, but it seemed. Trying to remember, I'm remembering that scene. It seemed like that creature was kind of on the run, no, and not from Augie and
right,
not from being spotted by Augie,
right before that.
Yeah. I think that they were trying to imply that the not imps that I guess we can call them aliens. I don't know what to quite classify them as. are some sort of intelligent dimensional hopping species, which I had initially thought the janitor was going to be connected to that somehow, but we never quite got that. It ended up being a complete non-connection.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
when you bring up the janitor too, it's like so interesting because obviously the janitor is like used to seeing others around the QUC. You know what I mean? Because he doesn't pay anybody any mind. It's just like, ho hum, another day. So I'm wondering who else, like you said, Elysia, who else has been running around the QUC?
Mm-hmm.
Because the janitor is completely unbothered by
Right.
seeing these people. So who else has the janitor seen? Who else has been, through those doors? It's an interesting thing that I hope we get answers to.
Yeah, and when we mentioned last time the door with the black hole that could connect to the Superman stuff, like we saw the black hole. Apparently, James Gunn said in that interview we were talking about earlier, I wanted them to open a door and see Deadpool in a room, and I talked to Ryan Reynolds about it, but I think it would have had to go through some pretty big hoops to do that. Ryan wanted to do it, and that's all anyone's going to talk about now, isn't it? Deadpool. I should have never said it. I mean, that would have been crazy because Deadpool is obviously Marvel, not DC. I'm glad he didn't do it, but it is funny that he actually got to the point that he talked to Ryan Reynolds about it.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige would have said no.
You never know. Feige could have said yes. He says yes to everything but recasting T'Challa. So
I am fairly certain that T'Challa is already recast.
All right. Okay. I'm
I
glad
mean, also
I didn't
because
see
Damson
Deadpool.
Idris has said some stuff in interviews that make me think that it's already been done too. Anyway.
Okay. I hope you're right. But I'm
you're glad no
Deadpool.
Deadpool.
I'm happy no Deadpool. The less Deadpool, the better.
Are you a Deadpool fan, Aaron?
I was initially, but I think the bit has gotten old for me. I think 3 movies of Deadpool, and I'm okay if I don't see Ryan Reynolds in the suit for a while.
I guess these movies that are cameo fests, like that Deadpool movie and like the last Spider-Man movie and stuff. I really enjoy watching them, and those are ones I'm more likely to go because I like to go to a lot of movies by myself just because I like to be able to process movies and decide what I think before I get my friends' voices in my heads or something like that. But those cameo fests, those are fun social movies, and we need those. But it's not the ones that I'm, revisiting again and again personally over time that I'm thinking the most about, that I'm most excited to see more of.
Okay, fair enough.
Right. Yeah. I feel like there's not a lot of rewatchability to those cameo fests, like you said. It's just the enjoyment comes from, what characters am I going to see that I really love? And then you go back and you watch it again and you realize how much of a story is really here that is keeping me engaged now that I know the big reveals.
Yeah.
I think I've rewatched the last Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably will never rewatch the last Deadpool.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I don't feel like I maybe need to rewatch the last Deadpool. Maybe it's fresh in my head, so there's that. But I'm not sure. Like, for instance, I'm going to definitely rewatch all the Spider-Man movies before the next Spider-Man movie.
Right.
But I don't know if I need to do that with the Deadpool movies again.
Right.
I've watched the first 2 multiple times. So
do you
I'm sure
need
I'll
to do
it.
that for the Spider-Man movie? Or do you just want to?
Well, I think, for instance, apparently, or wasn't he even in that we're going to have this Scorpion character showing back up in the MCU? And I'm like, oh God, I don't even remember Scorpion in the first Spider-Man movie.
Okay.
So I better rewatch Homecoming. It's going to be stuff like that. Or I was thinking I probably will rewatch Deadpool versus Wolverine before Doomsday, because I think that there will be more direct connection there, since obviously we know that whole crew, it seems like, is going to show up in Doomsday.
Okay.
Channing Tatum and all. Yeah, that's the thing. I would definitely watch the X-Men cameo stuff from that the most. If like someone just cut that out as like a short, I would rewatch that sometimes. Oh, just have like Blade walking out. Yeah, I'm gonna rewatch that. um, all right. So last question for you guys. We talked a bit before we take a break. We talked a bit before about Sasha and Rick and how I didn't buy. Just I thought that the whole them sleeping together thing was rushed, and I'm not sure what the point was of that. But she seemed to be done with him by the end of the episode. But then we also see John, who in previous episodes said that he had her mangled body as his screensaver because he hated her so much. But now, does it seem like he has a crush on Sasha? Like he was really excited about her saying that Rick wasn't her boyfriend, and there was something else at the end where it
Yeah,
seemed like
a little bit. There was a little tease of something there, definitely. Yeah, there was a little tease of something there.
This is maybe a really nasty thing to say about John Economos, but I just can't see him ever being in a healthy and functional relationship with the way that he treats everyone around him.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Oh, he's got
totally.
Yeah, his growing up is not complete.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Totally.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. All right. Any thoughts on the exploration of the doors before we take a break?
I wish we had gotten more doors opened and more scenes of salvation than we did.
Yeah, okay. I would agree. And Elysia, to just reinforce an earlier point that you made, they could have cut something like Red Saint Wild in favor of going through more dimensional doors and giving us more of what we wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Sometimes too many characters is too many characters sometimes because there's so many great ones and then they don't get as much time as they should have.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, let's take a quick break. And when we get back, we're going to talk about the location and intervention of Chris. Hi, Elysia from the Lorehounds here. I'm genuinely excited about this new sponsor we're working with this fall because they've played an important role in my family's holidays and special events for many years now. I'm talking about Uncommon Goods, my and my family's favorite place to buy gifts for each other. Their official tagline is Uncommon Goods makes holiday shopping stress-free and joyful with thousands of one-of-a-kind gifts you can't find anywhere else, which is absolutely true. But if you know me at all, you know that I get excited about unique, quirky products made by artisans and other creative people. I just personally love scrolling through their website and stumbling across such specific items I'd never find anywhere else. Over the years, I've gotten everything from personalized puzzles to retro viewfinders with family photos to beer brewing or wine aroma kits. And my latest purchase is a 3-in-1 convertible bag. It's a gift for my mom to thank her for everything she's done to help me through my tougher moments. And I'm getting started on my holiday shopping earlier this year, too. I need to make sure that I leave plenty of time for gifts to arrive with the recent unpredictability in shipping. If you're thinking the same, then good news. We can offer you a 15% discount when you shop on Uncommon Goods and drop our name. So shop early, have fun, and cross some names off your list today. To get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/lorehounds. That's uncommongoods.com/lorehounds for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary.
Yeah, so location and intervention. Chris is in jail now, refusing to see any of his friends. Adebayo manipulates Adrian into using the blood money he confiscated from alleged criminals to bail Chris out of jail. But Chris just takes eagerly and disappears. When Sasha comes to Harcourt to share her concerns about Rick's plans for the newly discovered dimension, Harcourt asks her to use her August clearance to help her find Chris, using the chip implanted in his head when he was part of the Suicide Squad. The 11th Street kids confront him together, insisting that he is not the cause of all the bad things that have happened to the people he cares about. and that they all love him and are not going to let him go.
Yeah, we talked a bit about the whole Adrian and his mom thing already. They did have the whole what people call her conversation, but yeah, it just Adrian needs to stop being so horrible to his mother. Yes, we talked about that. But are we all worried about Adebayo's powers of manipulation, and could they wind up leading her astray in the future? And I just want to play an example, this exchange that she had with Adrian.
Adrian, we need the money down here to hire a capable lawyer.
This is blood money, Ads. This is blood money. It comes from drug dealers and gangsters and human traffickers.
It was blood money, but now it's just money, and it's just sitting here.
Blood money will put a curse upon all of us and our descendants.
No, it won't.
Look, if you want to help Peacemaker get out, you should do a prison break.
We're not doing a prison break.
Okay, well then you threaten the judge's family.
What part of you thinks you're one of the good guys, Adrian?
All parts of me.
We're not doing a
Okay, so then it's back to Breakout. This is the one I wanted to do anyway, so...
No, fuck.
And then you see her make a choice.
Adrian, you know, I guess I'm just really disappointed.
Why?
I guess I'm just better friends with Chris than you, that's all.
What? No fucking way. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought. But I'm willing to possibly take on a blood curse to help Chris, and you're just not.
Oh, oh, that's hilarious. I'm tickled. I would totally take on a blood curse for him. I would just rather kill the judge's family.
Of course. So, I mean, she's not wrong about, obviously she looks at Adrian and she's like, ooh, this is a misguided guy at many times. But, and in this case, it's completely justified that she's manipulating him to help their friend. But we also saw her manipulate him to try to kill Peacemaker's father last season, which is less justified. And I just wonder if we need to worry in the future about her slipping into this because it's the easier way for her to deal with things, and maybe it being the wrong thing at some point.
I'm cool with it. I think, one, she's Amanda Waller's daughter.
Yeah. So she's not as bad as her mom?
No. Who has grown up to be this manipulator. This what she was trained to do by her mother.
Right.
So she's using all the tools that her mother gave her for a positive outcome. And I'd rather her do that than to use all the tools that her mother gave her to continue her mother's wayward acts. So I'm cool with Adebayo doing what she needs to do in order to get this outcome for Chris. Because quite honestly, if she didn't do it, he'd still be in jail, wallowing. And I think that's not what I wanted to see, especially when they had the capability to help him without killing a judge's family.
I mean, obviously her way was better. Not arguing that.
It's really interesting to finally see a character bump up against Adrian's sense of morality a little bit, because he says all these crazy things and people will give each other the side eye, but they don't really check him on it. And we finally get Adebayo using her powers of manipulation a little bit to challenge him. And I loved it.
Do you think she can help him become a better person?
No.
I think that Adrian is set in his morals, and even if he bends a little bit, he's still going to always take killing the judge's family over using the blood money if he can help it.
Maybe she can help him sort out his morals.
Yeah.
We also get vigilante tasers Chris to keep him from running again. Which of course he does. I'm not even mad about that. But it's interesting. Chris thinks that Chris himself, is literally cursed. So that shows he actually has more in common with Vigilante than he might care to admit.
Yeah, absolutely.
That the whole them confronting him, we talked about that briefly last time, and we said that James Gunn has said that he also thinks that's the heart of the episode. That was definitely the best part. But just to play a clip from that.
Chris, listen to me. Every time someone around you dies, it's because you're not listening to yourself. Your father told you to fight your brother. You did. Waller told you to kill Rick, and you did, and you knew you shouldn't have gone to that other world. Don't tell me you thought in your heart that was the right thing to do. But when you are truly who you are, Chris Smith, what happens? Chris, what happens, man?
Nothing.
You touch people, man. I believe in miracles because of you. I saw an eagle hug a human. I know who I am because of you.
Do we agree, first of all, that that when Chris listens to his own inner morals, they lead him the right direction? And do we think there are other characters like that who might be better people if they just listen to their inner morals?
Wow, that's a big question.
I love big questions.
Yeah,
I like big questions, and I cannot lie.
Wow. I think Chris is a very flawed and morally complex person. I think Adebayo is giving him a lot of credit because of how much he's impacted her personally. I don't know if Chris impacts the world in the way that Adebayo is saying that he does. But I think that because of how they've grown together, I think she is seeing the possibilities of Chris. But I don't know if that's rose-colored glasses or if that's actual. My personal gut feeling is that it is rose-colored glasses. Because his, who he is, who he's been, he's trying to change. He's trying to become a better person. What happens when or if that road that he's on gets really bumpy and he doesn't have Lee there to guide him back, doesn't have the 11th Street crew to help pull him back on the road that he's currently on to becoming a better person. I don't know if Chris will continue that journey, because when he was in the alternate dimension without them, he was totally cool with everything that was going on, to the point that he didn't even see
he was
oblivious.
oblivious. Yeah, he was oblivious. He wasn't cool with it once he found out. But yeah.
No, right, but he was cool with it because
eye.
he didn't see it. He just didn't see it. So
he didn't want to see it. He didn't want to see the big Hitler mural. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So that gives me pause to think of someone who, I want to give credit to for trying to change, but how much of it right now, how much do I trust that change? It's not a lot. Right now. Yeah. I'm not saying he won't become a better person, that he won't do things in a better way, but at this current time, would I personally, meeting Chris, think that, this is somebody that I want next to me when shit goes down? Not necessarily, no.
Yeah, I do think that so much of what Chris does is just him seeking validation from whoever is the most important person in his life at that particular moment. And I don't know that makes him the best person. I think that it may be in his heart of hearts, he is deep down wanting to do the good thing, the right thing. But that doesn't really matter at the end of the day when you're just seeking validation from Augie Smith or Amanda Waller or whoever else is providing that validation for you. And because it's Adebayo right now, he has a good sense of morals. But if it's not Adebayo in the future, does he still retain that? Does he still make good decisions? I don't really know. I don't know if I trust him to do the right thing all the time.
Mm. I mean, I guess I do feel in general that a lot of people would be better because I think you hit the nail on the head where you said, he's seeking approval. And I think that that's where most people go wrong, is that they are valuing the approval of others above their own moral instincts, without questioning, like, is this someone whose approval I should want? Is this someone I actually want to be like? Um, so I don't know. I think it's an interesting question that she brings it up, but of course she has a bias because she says also,
You're big and you're stupid, but I know you love me. And I don't know if I can say that about anybody else in this world.
Dude, you're my best friend. I don't want to do cool shit without you.
John loves you so much, he put himself on the line countless times for you, and he's like the biggest coward who ever existed.
Jesus, you gotta work that in.
and of course Amelia pipes up and says, "Me too," but and the good kind of me too. But yeah, James Gunn says about what Adebayo says about Chris. She says, "That's what he said. That's what I feel about my father who has passed away. My father had a lot of things that were goofy and silly, which he believed in. But at the end of the day, I knew he loved me. And I think until my very later adult life, he was the only person I knew loved me that was a human and not a dog. And that is a special thing to be given by another human being. I think there's people out there who feel loved by lots of people, and I think that's great. I didn't grow up feeling like that. I felt like just one person who was also abusive and an alcoholic and a mess loved me. And I think that's the gift that Chris gets." And yeah, I guess that's, if we talk about like complications with families and stuff, it's like at the end of the day, this is a found family situation, which is my favorite. I have a soft spot for found families, but just at the end of the day, it's like, we're all flawed. Who's going to love you anyway and help you try to be a better person as you're struggling with that yourself?
Right.
Well, I think it's pretty sad, both what Adebayo, what Lee and Gunn said about, those Chris is the only person that really knew her and loved her in that way. And Gunn says that the same thing about his father, those are pretty sad statements. And I feel Lee's pain in that moment. Like there's such a beautifully acted scene in that hotel room, because you can feel everything that they're all going through in that moment. And it's very touching. And the thing is, it's like Lee is also looking for something too, right? It's not just Chris that's trying to become a better person. Like the entire crew is trying to become their better selves in a way, to find themselves, to find their roles, the reason why they're put there on their earth. Try to do the best that they can. That's what this series has been for me, watching each of the 11th Street crew just try to navigate becoming better persons, their better selves. And for her to say that to Chris in that moment, it's just like, for him, I guess the only person he could say that about was Keith, right? Who he loved unconditionally. And we're hopeful that Keith loved him unconditionally in that way. So yeah, it's just a really well acted and very touching scene that we see between these people who, as you said, Elysia, found each other.
And we touched on it before, but the breakup between Lee, we'll go with it, Lee and Kia.
Yeah. We had a plan. I had agreed to work for my mother temporarily so that we could make some extra cash and we could start a business that was ours.
A pet store, Lee. That sold healthy food. Not being James Bond.
I know. But sometimes things take a turn. Sometimes you find something true about yourself that leads you to some place you didn't even know you were gonna go. And I've learned a relationship isn't just about how much you love somebody, but it's about building a life together where both partners can be happy. Where your lives, they make each other stronger and you burn brighter because of it. And I know if I have the life that I want, it will kill you. And I've denied that like an idiot. And if you have the life that you want, I'm gonna feel trapped. So it tears me apart to my bones, and I will love you for the rest of my days, Key. But I know we ain't for each other.
Aaron, do you have anything you want to add?
I think I talked about this a little bit in our sort of halfway finale episode, but I thought that this was such a great moment for Adebayo and Kia, or Lee and Kia, especially because Adebayo hasn't gotten a lot of chances to shine this season and put in that kind of emotional acting that some of the other characters have gotten. And between the conversation with Chris and the breakup between Lee and Kia, it was just so awesome that James Gunn put this amazing actress at the forefront a little bit more this episode, because I've been missing that from this season just a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. And I wonder if we'll see Kia again ever.
I hope not. Not because I don't like the character, but just because I think they put a good point on it.
Well, the actress did a great job, by the way, but
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But just because, sorry, I cut you off.
Just because I think they put a really nice period on that whole relationship and that whole plot line. And I don't want them to muddy anything by throwing more in just for the sake of it.
Right.
Agree.
And it's not like it wouldn't feel right if suddenly Kia's like, actually, I'm into the spy life now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have their own dreams and their own ambitions, and it's okay. Sometimes people just grow apart and their lives branch in different directions.
Yeah. I hope that Lee gets other dogs. I hope she has other puppies in her life who like wearing costumes. Yeah, I mean, Emmy for Danielle Brooks. It's time she got her Oscar nom. It's time. Let's set her up with her EGOT.
Yeah.
So I thought, switching to other characters, I thought earlier in the season that Hardcore and Sasha might fight, but now, do we think they're becoming friends? Will they, like, I don't know, I'm just so used to in media and in real life seeing women pitted against each other. So it's something refreshing to see that it didn't come to that. It actually went the other direction. But do we think that they're actually going to form a friendship?
I hope so, because as you said, just a few minutes ago, this is about found family, right? And why can't Sasha find her family with this crew? You know what I mean? I would hope so, before she turns into an evil cyborg.
I mean, they're all kind of villain adjacent.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that these are also two individuals who have a lot of respect for someone that they view as a strong person. And I think that there's not a doubt in my mind that these are both strong people. Maybe Harcourt isn't so strong emotionally, but I think that the two of them could develop, if not a friendship, at least a mutual respect for one another and have a good working relationship.
Yeah. I think Hardcore makes, when you're talking about her being strong emotionally or not, I think she makes the same mistake a lot of people make, which is confusing strength for stoicism, for outward stoicism, because obviously she's not feeling that within. For pretended stoicism, I should say. But yeah, just that a lot of people think strength is not showing emotions, where I personally think that strength is having the courage to be honest about your emotions.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and then that brings us to Economos's terrible distraction. We already about the prawns game and insulting Otis and lobster facts. So taking a page out of Adrian's book, except his lobster fact is horrifyingly true. Lobsters do indeed, if they live long enough, they grow too big for their shells and get crushed to death. Fun.
Gosh. So macabre.
Yeah.
And on that note, checkmate, bitches. While the 11th Street Kids and the entire Peacemaker crew return to the party boat for another concert, this time with Foxy Shazam playing the show's theme song, apparently Hardcore's favorite song, we see a montage of the 11th Street Kids using Adrian's blood money to start up a new agency called Checkmate, and they recruit Sasha, Flurry, and Judo Master. And Chris and Hardcore finally give in to their feelings for each other. So, yeah, Jean, this is the floor is yours. Checkmate from the comics. You want to tell people what this is about?
So different. It's so different. It's so different. So Checkmate is the organization that was set up by Amanda Waller, to do missions that she didn't send the Suicide Squad on. So that it's usually they have like if any Marvel heads are listening, if you know X-Men, you know they have the Hellfire Club with kings, queens, pawns, bishops, rooks. The same structure exists within Checkmate in the comics. A black king, white king, and queens. They lead their respective organizations. Then as you go, the knights and the pawns will go out into the field and do the bidding, whatever needs to be done, whatever the task is for that time. It's really so. This what we've seen in Peacemaker does not resemble what we see in the comics. What is interesting though is that in the comics, Maxwell Lord at one point becomes the Black King, right? And he's in charge of Checkmate, and his intent is to kill all metas on Earth. So we've already seen that we have Maxwell Lord in universe. We see that there's an organization called Checkmate in universe, and we've now seen that there is an intent to rid the Earth of all metahumans. Will this plot all come together in the way that it did in the comics? Who knows? But that is the one interesting fact that I did realize, that we have these threads from the comics showing up in the Supes film and now in Peacemaker.
I mean, I wonder if Rick Flag is filling that role, because it's also in the DCU, Maxwell Lord, played by Sean Gunn, is sponsoring the Justice Gang.
Right.
So he's directly
To
tied
what end?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
to what
true.
end?
I mean, I know we're all waiting for him to turn nefarious, but
yes.
But we already have Rick here who actively is playing that role, and Lex for that matter. So, about the name, obviously Checkmate is a chess reference, and you're talking about like the black and white kings and queens and stuff. These are chess references. I presume in the comics there's an explanation for why this company has all the chess names, but we didn't get that in the show. So I'm very curious why. It's like somebody really into chess that we don't know about.
Well, yeah, I think it was Waller who decided to set up the organization in this way. There was also it's the pieces is a thinking. Chess is considered to be a thinking person's game, right? So I think that is the direct correlation between what Waller is doing. She's trying to think steps ahead of everyone else, and hence the motif.
Yeah, like I said before, I do wonder if we're going to get a sort of 3-player chess where we have DCU, we have, the Argus and US government on one side, the Justice Gang, which again is sponsored by Maxwell Lord, with and they're aligned with Superman and Supergirl on the other side, and Checkmate on a third side. And I'm very curious. I hope that they do in the DCU play into, just the politics of having these 3 groups and how they check and balance each other.
And one last thing I'll say, there's also a character in the comics, Harry Stein, who Waller will at one point relinquishes control of the Checkmate apparatus to him, and he's I guess you can say he's the person who really put that whole king, queen, rook, pawn, knight motif firmly into the agency in the comics.
Okay. Yeah, that is what was something we missed out with the montage element. Is just like it makes sense that they want to start a group together. Why is it called Checkmate? Other than the fact it came from the comics,
right? Because it's so radically different from what we see on page.
Well, we're not really sure quite what it is yet, right? Because we haven't seen them in action. We just know they exist. Yeah.
Just to have the name, though, right? And everyone is
on the front of the building.
Right. And it's like, this is Checkmate, okay. But it's really a radically different formation of the group than what we had on page. So I don't know. I'm interested to see where it goes, which is why, again, I'm so bummed with this finale is that, there are all these possibilities for these characters. And from what we know now, because I don't know where they will show up and in what capacity they'll show up again. I'm sure they will show up, but how much of them do we get? How much of the shape of this organization and how it functions will we get in these other programs and these other stories if it's not their story?
Give them their own TV show and get terrific involved. Give them their own TV show and get terrific involved.
that would be awesome. But we haven't.
He was in the Checkmate at one point in the comics, wasn't he?
He's a big part of the modern day Checkmate.
Okay,
a big part of it.
Yeah.
All right. What are your thoughts, Aaron?
I hope that the fact that they did choose Checkmate is indicative that we're going to see these characters more.
It seems to be setting it up. Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't want them to take a backseat for all these other characters that are a part of Checkmate. If they were going to go the route of having this organization with all of the comic book characters that are in it in the comics, I wish they would have just given the 11th Street Kids their own organization and created something new out of it. But I guess we won't know until we see what kind of direction they go with it. My main worry for the crew right now is just, I hope the IRS doesn't ask where they got the seed money from.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I would love Terrific to join them, but in that version, I see the Justice Gang splitting up because of Max Lord doing something or Hawk Girl betraying them somehow, something like that. Guy Gardner just being Guy Gardner. But yeah, it is heartening to me. I mean, the other thing that I'm thinking is James Gunn has been saying for a while that there is a TV show that sounds like it's quite close to being announced, and like the James Gunn would even like to already announce it, but it sounds like the WB powers that be are kind of holding him back from that. And I assumed that it was a Mr. Terrific show just because he was definitely the breakout star of the Superman movie, other than not to Superman, Lois, Lex, obviously they're the stars, but Mr. Terrific's the one that everyone walked away with being like, hey, that guy, show me more of that guy.
Right.
So yeah, I combining them, I think it serves both those purposes. But and I would just think, like, I just imagine him talking to Vigilante. He will not put up with his bullshit. It'll be hilarious.
Or Flurry.
Him talking to Flurry, yeah. I just want to see them interact. I could just this is a show, I know, Checkmate's about going out and doing missions in the world and beyond. I could just do a weekly, a weekly show about their staff meetings.
Oh gosh. Like The Office.
Yeah.
They better invest in an HR department. They're going to need it more than anyone else.
If they had to put, I guess there's an easy answer, but if they had to put one of the current members in charge of HR, who would it be? If not Lee?
Gosh, no one. That would be a disaster of an HR department. Oh my God.
I don't think it would go
Somebody's
well.
calling HR on HR.
Just throw Fleury in there. See what he does.
Oh. I mean, I guess it could be hardcore to a certain degree, because while she's not great at regulating herself, she does have maybe more insight and kindness into other people, like where she was
But wouldn't you be
telling
afraid that she would just like judo chop somebody? Like
if she got mad at them?
Yes. Like
Only
hit
if they
them
deserved it.
right in the nose.
I mean,
she can't mediate situations.
What about Judo Master?
No. Absolutely not.
Yeah, you're right. Audaba is the only one who can do it, but hardcore would be my second, I guess. Yeah. Economos would just never, he would be like, oh God, don't bring problems to me. He'd be like, did you guys watch Mythic Quest on Apple?
I didn't. I never watched it. I've never watched it.
Okay. I love that show. But anyway, there's an HR, Carol from HR there, and she's just like, she's tired of dealing with everybody's shit. Oh, anyway. So apparently the montage overall was Gunn's favorite thing that he has ever filmed. He said, filming on the boat with Foxy, Shazam, and Nelson, that was the best day of all time that I've ever had on any set ever, for real. We had so much fun that day. I don't know if you can see me, but we're all back there dancing to Foxy, Shazam. I'm there. Steve Agee's there. Nelson is back there. We're all back there. Me and the PAs are there dancing, and Foxy Shazam are the greatest live band in the world. So it's just incredible, an incredibly fun time that day. And you can spot him. He is, I didn't find all the people he mentioned, but you can clearly see James Gunn look for the white hair by the bar in the back during that scene.
It's not surprising this was his favorite. That just,
I mean, yeah.
It tracks. He got a personal concert from one of his favorite bands.
Yeah.
And yeah.
What would be if you had to arrange a concert like this where you're just like totally self-indulging on what you want your personal concert to be and setting it as a soundtrack for the finale of your TV show, what band are you choosing?
Wow.
I think I'm going to go with Editors. Or the Yeah Yeah Yes. I love the Yeah Yeah Yes.
I'm going to have to go Hozier.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's going to be today, right now.
Yeah.
On this Saturday, the 18th of October.
You are free to change your mind the second we stop recording.
What band? Yeah, it wouldn't be. Maybe it would be like Mobb Deep, rest in peace, Prodigy. Like Mobb Deep or like Rock Marciano and Alchemist. Those are rappers. So yeah, that's what
I would assume.
It might be Rock. It might be Rock Marciano. I'll say Rock Marciano.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I know, Sean, you rightfully make the case that they need to bring more hip hop to superhero movies. Which,
oh God,
I mean,
yes.
aside from obviously they have done a good job with that in the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Yeah.
With Spider-Verse. So.
Yeah, well, it's some of the best things in Marvel or in the superhero world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One of the other best things was that we already talked about it, the Spider Facts with Vigilante and Fleury. That was just like, I feel like that we kind of got 3 credit scenes this week. Like we got the 2 at the end, and then this one was in the middle of the montage. But I think that was right. That was a good thing to do, to just like to realize this is what the people want. Vigilante and Fleury riffing off of each other. Yeah, I'm just disappointed Judo Master wasn't involved.
Oh, me too. We better get more of their dynamics as we explore Checkmate a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Well, I want to see this stuff. You know, how much of this stuff that we're so happy to watch and want to see. How much of that will we get?
I mean, I think
other programs.
We will. I just don't. There is a moment right now in TV land, where all of the studios are feeling ultra conservative about announcing new projects because things have been rather rocky for various reasons. And so, for example, I also think in any other time, we would have already gotten our Alien Earth season 2 announcement by now. It's absolutely insane that we have not. And yeah, clearly James Gunn is chomping at the bit to announce something, and there's a very good chance it's related to this. And it sounds like Warner Brothers is just like, oh, let's just hold on for a minute, or and we all hoped that there would be an announcement at New York Comic Con, but we didn't really.
Yeah, we didn't get any.
We only got really like trailers for things that we already know are happening,
right?
Because all of the studios are being extra cautious at the moment.
Which, to a certain degree, I'm a fan of waiting to announce things because I am really impatient, and if I know something is coming, I have a hard time with that. But also, there's the whole factor of there have been so many projects that have just gotten stuck in production hell and never gotten out after they've been announced, especially in the superhero genre.
Yeah.
So, if they want to be a little bit more cautious with the announcements, I think that I'm comfortable with that.
But I'm on like James Gunn's side on this particular one, where he's keeps saying himself that he doesn't want to announce anything until he feels like it's ready. But yeah, this is I think that they need to also be smart. Like the fact that the Alien Earth finale was received much more poorly because season 2 was not yet announced. And I think the same for this one. I think because we didn't get assurance that this team's story is continuing in this place, that's one of the biggest reasons why people are feeling iffy on it.
Right. And like you said, Gunn doesn't want to announce anything unless it's in a good state. But it seems like he thinks that these projects are in a good state.
Yeah.
So
I think the studio heads are not acting in their best interest right now, and it's just because there's a climate of fear at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I have to point out a fun little Easter egg. Hardcore, we see her when they're doing the office, setup montage. She puts this little rabbit figurine with a sign that says "Obstacles are opportunities." So obstacles are opportunities here, but that is a reference to the T-shirt that Rick Flag Jr. was wearing when he died.
Nice catch. Nice.
Someone else pointed it out to me. So thank you, Internet, for your Easter egg hunting. Although I did rewatch that recently, and it is true. Okay. We're going to take a quick break here. And when we come back, we're going to wrap up the last section, which is kind of like the teaser for the next things. And then we're going to get into a little community feedback. So see you in a sec.
There is no salvation. Rick wants to use this new, relatively pleasant-looking dimension Harcourt discovered as a prison for metahumans and other superheroes, and people that he considers a pain in his ass. But obviously, there's some moral implications here. So Rick decides that they need a guinea pig, and he knows just the guy. He's got his goons kidnap Peacemaker and forge a document claiming he volunteered to test this new dimension, which Rick is calling salvation to make sure it's safe. Rick closes the door, stranding him there, and we hear the sounds of strange beasts roaming the trees around Chris, now left alone.
And that's how it ends. Yeah, so Jean, do you have any thoughts about this based on the comics?
Yeah, absolutely. When I heard salvation, I was like, oh shit, salvation, what the fuck? and then they pushed Chris there. I was like, oh shit, he's on salvation, what the fuck? And then I'm like, oh, they're doing salvation. But then I was like, wait a minute. So salvation in the comics is this exact thing, right? Except that it's not all metahumans, it's all the metahumans who they think are evil. Right, so all the villains in the DC universe get sent off planet to this place where it's supposed to be uninhabited, and they can either kill themselves, forge their own society, whatever they want to do. They're off of Earth. We don't care. Get out. Right, Rick Flag Sr. is the head of that, with Waller. So that happened in the comics. What's interesting about Salvation in the comics is that it's a training ground for Darkseid, his parademons. So in the comic books, the story, Granny Goodness sends parademons there to train, and only the strongest of those who survive obviously get to come back to Apocalypse and become members of Darkseid's army. They have all sorts of animal technology, fused, cyborg animals on Salvation who are trained, who are there to hunt the parademons who are dropped by the forces of Apocalypse in order to train them to become better soldiers. The villains wind up there, thinking that, not understanding that what they're up against is actually the new gods of Apocalypse, and it's a wild story. A lot of murders and sacrifices, and just plannings of how to try to get back to Earth. So all the major villains in the DC comics are there: Lex, the Joker, Catwoman, just everybody you can think of, and trying to survive and get back to Earth. So this is what Salvation Run in the comics was. This is promising because, one, as Elysia has so often said, boom, right? Boom tools. These are the doorways that the new gods in DC Comics, Darkseid, Highfather, Orion, how they get around the multiverse. And to have this place named Salvation leads me to think that maybe that we're actually going to see some new gods in the near future of the DCEU. Questions?
I really hope that we do. I mean, what kind of timeline, knowing the comics, do you see for that? Do you think that this is something that's going to be coming soon, or is this something we're going to have to wait a while for?
I think it's the Supes movie.
Man of Tomorrow.
I think it's Man of Tomorrow. I think because the stated goal of Rick Flag is to get rid of all metas, I think Supes gets sent to Salvation.
James Gunn said, I like the idea of being able to create this other environment where people that are considered bad metahumans are going to have to figure out a new way to create a society.
Yeah. So, bad metahumans. So maybe it's not Soup.
Although maybe he'll be, or that he and Lex are sent there somehow.
Yes.
Like, what if Rick decides, he's like, I really like having this team of people. I've been having a lot of fun with them, and I don't want Lex to be their business daddy anymore. Let's just get rid of him.
I think that's possible.
Yeah.
I think that's possible.
Do we think, I mean, Hardcore points out Sasha's a metahuman, which is maybe a reason why she chose Checkmate over Rick. Do we think she is in danger of being targeted? And do we think she would have been in more or less danger if she stayed sleeping with Rick and at Argus?
I think Sasha's something else.
I mean, she's called a metahuman. They called her
No.
Yeah,
no, she's a metahuman,
Mhm.
but I think she's part of something else.
Oh, you think that there's another entity she's working for?
Yes.
Brainiac? Sorry. Brainiac is coming.
Because I just can't get the picture out of my mind of her laying in bed next to Rick Flag and with her eyes open, and it seems like she's somewhere else. Not just because she's next to Rick Flag. Like literally, like her face is like it looked like she's
downloading or
something.
Yeah,
it just felt like that to me.
In a virtual world.
Knowing that she's a cyborg and potentially what they can do. Checkmate has a story with Omax, which are cyborgs who are put on Earth to like potentially oversee the metahuman population, control and make sure they don't get out of control. And if they get out of control, to take them out. Like all of these threads are could lead to something.
I don't think that Rick Flag would have hesitated even while him and Bordeaux were together to send her to that alternate dimension if he thought that that was what needed to happen. I think that the level with which he cares about Bordeaux has been shown to be absolute zero. Like he doesn't care. He just is only interested in her in the capacity that the two of them are sleeping together. And I don't think that would save Bordeaux. I think that he would still make the decision to go after her.
I'm generating a thought in my head that ties into, we're going to get into the feedback in a moment. So I'm going to put a pin in it. It ties into something that Josh Liu says, but yeah, I mean, so to speak about Rick's arc toward villainy, and so the thing I put at the pin in is related to that, but we do get yeah, I was going to say earlier, fuck the Secretary of Defense in the DCU, but we get this conversation.
Okay, so I'm looking at a planet with a lot of natural resources, moderate temperatures, seas, lakes. This doesn't exactly sound like a punishment.
I don't care about punishment, Mr. Secretary. I don't. What I care about is removing dangerous individuals from our fucking planet forever. Keeping American people safe. Arkham and Belle Reve. They're not capable of holding individuals who have extraordinary abilities. They're not. Every single month, someone escapes. No one will escape salvation. I promise.
I gotta say, Rick, you've come a long way from lambasting Luthor in this room a month ago to now being the one to proactively implement his plans.
I do not like the guy, but he is the smartest man in the world.
First of all, I think that Mr. Terrific would beg to differ when it comes to that. Do you, okay, so do you think that Boy K from Alien Earth has any similarities to Lex or vice versa?
Huh.
I was just, thinking about their kind of man baby, I must be the smartest man shtick.
No, I don't see Boy K in the same way I see Lex. I see Lex more like Elon Musk.
I see Boy K like Elon Musk.
Yeah, I see Boy K like Elon Musk too, but I see more Elon Musk and Lex. I see more Lex Luthor and Elon Musk. Like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do like the distinction here that Rick, it's not like he's evil, he's not trying to sadistically inflict pain, but he is still the villain in this whole situation.
He has blinders on.
Yeah. A little more than that, yeah. He's just like, he seems very amoral in this show, which is not how I felt about him in Creature Commandos. Did you finish Creature Commandos, Aaron?
I am still on episode 4. I never actually got the whole way through. I've been watching that. I've been trying to get through all of Atlanta, so I definitely my attention has been torn just a little bit.
Okay.
Great show, Atlanta. Great show.
Oh, it's so good. I'm on season 4 right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's one of the all times. Also, I just want to shout out in a bad way, Angler, aka Titties, who totally went traitor. She was part of one of the people kidnapping, and just goes to show, like, she was being horrified about all this being sent through the door. These people being killed and seeing Klein killed and all that, and now she's still with them collaborating. Like Sasha and Flurry were horrified, but they left.
Right.
And Judah Master, but he has other reasons too. And they are, and she is just like, no, collaboration's the easy way.
You see, but the thing is too, with Rick's, what he just said, what you just played, he's not talking about bad metahumans and what Gunn said. You know what I mean? Like if they decide to ship only the villains who they consider to be the villains to salvation. That's going to be, that would be interesting, because in the comics there's a, like Martian Manhunter, who's a member
Definitely going to show up.
Yeah. So Martian Manhunter goes like shapeshifts into someone else. I can't remember the character's name, but is reporting back to Batman what's going on Salvation. So that would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
If they have something like that planned for the big screen, to bring in all these disparate characters that he's insisting we're not going to see yet.
Okay.
But will we see them
in
the next Supes movie?
I mean, yeah. I do think it makes sense to hold off on Batman until Matt Reeves has done his thing.
Why?
From the business perspective, that the average person will be confused.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
So I can imagine that the WB, that might be a directive that's coming down.
Right.
I mean, it's total speculation, but I can imagine it being like that. So I do think we could get Wonder Woman sooner rather than later. And I think it's interesting that James Gunn himself fan cast the role, and it's perfect. Adria Arjona, is that her name from Andor? She's perfect. Yeah, do that.
I just wonder, they have at least a decade of Reeves Batman content planned out, it seems. And so can we really wait that long to introduce such a key character into our DCEU?
Yeah, I don't know. And it sounds like Gunn is not like totally against combining the two. It's just so, yeah, I think we can have different flavors within the DCU.
Yes.
I'm not totally against it. I just my only issue with the movie, and unfortunately for me, it's the one that makes me have a hard time watching it, is the direction of the acting. I just really dislike the direction of the acting. But I'm really eager to see in the next movie, because now like Batman's in a new place. Hopefully he's allowed to have life in his eyes, and I understand he's depressed in the first movie and stuff. It just didn't work for me. So I'm having trouble seeing that version of the character with
what
this
version. What version do you want out of Batman?
I mean, I'm not. What I'm trying to say, if I finish, is that I'm having trouble in my head seeing them together, but I am intrigued by the notion, nonetheless. Because it could be something like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I want that version of the character to be handled like we saw, for instance, Lex Luthor in this show. Like, it was hilarious when Lex Luthor, starts like flying off and cursing and saying all these things. But I can't see Batman, that version of Batman, ever cracking a joke.
Yeah, I don't see Batman cracking jokes.
I mean,
for me,
my first exposure to Batman before, my first exposures to Batman, I would see the Adam West show on TV, and I had those movies from the 80s and stuff, and that's what I grew up with as a kid. To me, Batman is a campy property, and that fits into this DCU, but that's definitely not, and I think it's gorgeous, beautifully done, what Matt Reeves is doing, but it's so fundamentally different. And I don't think that's a bad thing, because I keep saying with like Star Wars, with Marvel, I want to be able to have different flavors in these worlds for different movies.
Yeah, we'll have that conversation, because I don't see Batman as camp at all for me.
Yeah. I think he can be both, but yeah, I grew up.
No, he can be.
Mm-hmm.
He absolutely has been. But I just don't see the character itself personally as a campy type of character.
I think Christopher Nolan struck the balance best there.
Possibly. On screen, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, on screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I would be more interested in seeing James Gunn and this DCU try to play with the Bat family without Batman and do like some kind of Dick Grayson, Tim Drake show, movie, something like that without Batman in it. I think he could really get the vibes right for that.
I'm not opposed to a Nightwing show.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to that at all.
Yeah, Aaron, you got to keep watching when I know you're caught up on all these other things. But the Harley Quinn has an interesting Nightwing storyline. Sean, how did far you were watching Harley Quinn, and also I think
I haven't watched the new season.
Okay, so you've watched everything but?
Yes.
So you saw the Nightwing stuff?
I did.
Okay.
I liked it. I thought it was a good story. I think that Harley Quinn show does an amazing thing with these characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's so very well done. And it's, a lot of the characters, they play it for laughs, definitely, but there's a lot of the comic book for, feel of the characters themselves, not, that translate onto that show.
Mm-hmm.
So played up for laughs, which I enjoy.
Yeah.
I enjoy.
Definitely my favorite version of Ivy.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I haven't read many of the comics. I'm sure I love them, but I'm talking about on screen.
Okay. I think the current Poison Ivy comic book run is the best, actually.
Okay. Yeah. Noted.
Not a fan of the FX Gotham Poison Ivy?
I haven't seen that show.
Oh god.
No.
You're not missing out on too much.
You would be you might throw rocks at the at the screen.
Why? Tell me more.
Because it's bad.
Okay, what does bad mean?
Bad. Like, as in no good.
I don't have any defense for that show. I think the first couple of seasons were sort of strange and interesting, and then it felt like a different show every single season. I don't know how they managed to do it.
Every single season.
How is Ivy portrayed?
They portray her as a little girl who gets like chemical dumped on her, and she grows up into the Poison Ivy that we know, and it's just a very strange characterization that they do of her as this like child in an adult's body, and it was very not true to the character that we know. Yeah, really creepy.
Okay. Yep. Then no, that is not my favorite. All right, logistical question about this show. How does Rick plan to monitor Chris in the other universe to find out like whether he's still alive?
There's no monitor.
Yeah, they can't do the track. He can't track his chip across universes.
No, it's like
he would have to go into that same universe himself.
Right. It's like, see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. I'm like, we out. That's it. That's it.
All right, let's turn to some questions from the community. Aaron, do you want to set up? I've referenced Josh Liu's email a few times. Do you want to set up what he said?
Absolutely. I'm not sure why Gunn indicated why the finale might make viewers think there wouldn't be a season 3. Seemed like a pretty standard TV cliffhanger, even if some of it is left resolved in Man of Tomorrow, unless the sequel series is a Checkmate show instead of a Peacemaker continuation. I did not really get Flag's characterization. Is this supposed to be him revealing his true colors? I got the feeling in the past that he might be as ruthless and rigid as any other Argus higher-up, but nothing in CC, Superman, or earlier in the season gave me the impression that he wouldn't care while his people were coming back dead and maimed from the exploration he was sending them on. Is this who he really is? Has he been replaced by an imposter? Is there more to Flag, all but ignoring Harcourt's Rick comment? There is a Clayface film due next year, but Gunn already went to this well in Creature Commanders, so would he do it again?
So let's pause there for a second. Yeah. So the Clayface thing is what I'm interested in, and then we'll get back to the rest of Josh's message. But there is obviously, so in Creature Commandos, spoiler for Creature Commandos. I guess you haven't gotten there yet, Aaron, but Rick and Clayface get into a physical fight, and Clayface breaks Rick's back, and so this is presumably, we brought this up earlier this season that, and Rick kind of alludes to it, that he got his back broken. I don't hate the idea. There's something intriguing about the idea about what if they actually just replaced Rick at that moment with Clayface. I don't know that I fully believe it, but yeah, I'm interested to have that on the table. What do you guys think?
I think that is an interesting proposition, because again, I'm not convinced by this real big change of heart by Rick Flag Sr. that we got in this season.
Although the whole thing about the Call Me Rick thing, he did also say this season. So that for me is an argument against it, because, this Rick knew that that whole exchange that they had at Rick Flag Jr.'s funeral that they showed us about Call Me Rick. And then him just ignoring it, I took that as him just being done with hardcore. Like, I'm done using you. I don't need you anymore. You delivered what I needed from you.
Yeah.
I hear you, and I think I just don't. His change of heart just leaves something to be desired with me. I'll just leave it at that.
I don't know if I could see the whole bait and switch. I think it would be interesting for them to play with, but I don't really know enough about Clayface as a character to know if that's a good direction.
We have to check in with you after you see that, because they do, as Josh brings up, they do have Clayface impersonate a different character in Creature Commandos. But then it's super obvious, because it's like that lady's acting weird. Like, this is not
right.
This is not how she acts. So yeah, I don't know. It's intriguing. I'm not sure I'm buying into it, but I like Josh putting it out there.
Yeah,
I think that's an intriguing idea. I wouldn't hate it for sure.
Right.
Sorry.
I think they could play with that in some fun ways.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to continue?
Sure. And on the flip side, I'm not sure I loved Bordeaux's one episode change of heart. Agreed. Given how gung-ho she was about Argus's more questionable methods leading up to this one. Fleury becoming an ally of the 11th Street crew has been set up and slow building for a few episodes now, so it makes Sasha's change feel rushed in contrast, even if there is a clear reason with the deaths of her colleagues. I did very much like Leota and Kia's breakup scene. I think most shows would have had them reconcile, so I found the heartbreaking, mature end to that marriage quite moving.
Yeah,
I agree with everything there.
Yeah, me too.
Sub-Zero says, I think Lex tends to, quote unquote, infect those he touches. You can see it in his operations crew. They're not just doing jobs, they're doing it gleefully. It seemed to rub off on Flag. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think it's, like, I agree. I don't know if it's, what are they, like, they're so happy and they're so cool bringing misery to other people. It's just like real world, right? Just people just so happy making other people miserable and doing the worst possible things to someone else and being, totally gung-ho about it. Like, yeah.
Also, yeah, Lex does seem to inspire some sort of cult-like following.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that brings back the Elon Musk comparison where, I don't know, it's like, how does this guy with very, I'll say, lacking in charisma develop such a following? But they do.
I used to be a fan of his, just for like, yeah, I was a fan of moving forward electric cars. I was a fan of what SpaceX was doing, and then obviously things shift for me.
Yeah.
Sean, do you want to set up Davy Mack?
Yeah, Ads is my favorite character, and her breakup scene was great. I think I'm largely positive on the episode as a whole, even though I've got some issues with some of the characterizations. The ending felt to me like a pretty standard ending of a TV season. You've got the montage, then the setup for the next season. Only, in this case, there isn't a next season plan. I know the salvation story will continue in Man of Tomorrow, but like these characters likely won't be the focus of that movie. So it does feel kind of weird for me to end the whole show like this, unless this show just continues as checkmate moving forward. Also, I like the idea of Chris being the first prisoner here and figuring out a way to survive and helping other prisoners and building a community as they come through. All while the checkmate crew tries to figure out what happened to him while taking on other cases. Listening to the pod now, and I will say that the Doors section did ultimately land for me, in part because I can relate to being an employee growing increasingly disillusioned with an organization I was once excited to work for. And I've also seen people I once respected reveal who they truly are as they moved up the chain and witnessed them turning their backs and having dismissive attitudes towards employees in a way I never thought they'd be capable of before. And I thought the sequences with the Doors effectively showed all sides of that.
That's well put. Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand it. I get that, and it makes sense. But yet still something is lacking for me.
I mean, for me, I do tend to be most drawn to the nuances of storytelling, like these sort of political things where you just see reflections. I suppose this is me as I'm aging. I am getting more interested in storytelling that portrays and explores why people sell out, so to speak. And yeah, Davy Mac's right that is very much, what's going on here. Erin, do you want to read Gempaction?
Absolutely. Reframing the last episode as a eulogy, I have made my peace with much of what it is, montages included, and the fact that the plot stopped for most of the episode I can more easily forgive. I still think the Doors montage was one too many, but the concert with their song sticks very fondly in my head. I'm going up from a 4 out of 10 to a 7.5. Ooh, that's a big jump.
Nice.
That's a big jump.
Nice, yeah. I also don't get the news agency or whatever they all thought they were doing post-Argus, because they should know there's no way to get off that easy. Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
yeah. I mean, so Checkmate, Jean's explained better now what Checkmate is, but it's basically going to be a competitor to Argus in some ways.
Argus, yeah.
Yeah. But is there anything, they're all officially out of trouble. Like none of them are officially in trouble for anything at this point, right? Except for Chris, obviously.
Yeah, I think they're good.
Yeah.
I think they're good.
The deal was Chris handed over the door and himself,
right,
and the rest were all pardoned. And they've been working for Argus, but now they quit.
Exactly. So they've quit on whatever terms they quit on. We don't get to see it, but yeah. So I think they're okay as far as being off the government radar or being hunted by Argus at this time, by Rick Flag Jr., a senior, I should say.
Yeah. Well, the next things we might find things out are Lanterns, the TV show, which is coming out in early 2026, is all we've been told. We know we're getting Supergirl June 26th, but that is, I think that's the least likely to connect with anything else, because apparently it's going to closely follow the comics, which I have now read. Woman of Tomorrow.
How'd you like it?
Not Man of Tomorrow, but Woman of Tomorrow. I think I love the story, and I think the artwork is phenomenal.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. The artwork is stupendous. But yeah, I'm very excited to see the story play out on screen, and Lobo's apparently going to be involved. But it seems like if they follow the comics, that's going to be off Earth, and thus not really involve any of these other characters, presumably. And then Clayface is coming September of next year, and that's the big question mark, because we know it's going to be horror. It's going to be a Mike Flanagan written production, directed by James Watkins, and also written by Hussein Amini. I don't want to leave him out, but we know it's going to be horror, but we don't know if or how or what it's going to connect to the DCU. We just know it's coming. And then Man of Tomorrow, obviously, July 9th, 2027. So it's a whole nother year from now. And we know that, for example, Creature Commando Season 2 is being written right now. And we know there's other stuff in the pipeline to be announced, but hasn't been yet. So, yeah, check out our intro to the DCU episode for more on all of the things that they were working on, in addition to what we talked about here. But what are you guys most excited for or most hoping is added to this list?
Oh, man. Oh, gosh. Most excited for?
I mean, I think we're all excited for Supergirl, right? I think that's
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That's, yeah. I think the comic book is great. So I'm happy to see this get translated onto screen. I'm kind of like, I'm interested in Lanterns.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm curious.
Yeah, I am. I want to see what this story about these roving, town to town lanterns is really about.
And how it ties in with the rest, because I
Yeah.
think like we've gotten so little information. It's just like it's a buddy cop thing, but also
Right.
Guy Gardner will show up and maybe others. Yeah.
I think I'm cautiously excited for Clayface.
Yeah.
I say
okay.
cautiously because in the past, when DC and Marvel have said that they're going to do something that's horror, they haven't quite lived up to the expectation that I have of what horror
Werewolf
is.
by Night on the Marvel side. Werewolf by Night is
that
perfection.
was good. Yes. Werewolf
But
by
yeah.
Night was good. I'm thinking more of Multiverse of Madness when they said that was going to be a horror movie, and then it just had nothing. Yeah. But I think if they can pull it off and they actually lean into that, even if it's a little bit of a campy horror situation, I'll still be happy with that.
Okay.
Are you a Mike Flanagan fan in general of the stuff he writes?
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah. I am too. I expect a big speech from Clayface at one point, but I think I've watched everything that he's made. So yeah, I guess you could call me a fan. Yeah, that's definitely because of the horror aspect and Mike Flanagan's involvement, and the other names attached are also intriguing to me.
Right.
Yeah, Clayface and Supergirl are probably the ones I'm most excited for, but Lanterns is the one I'm leaving the most room to pleasantly delight me,
Yeah. I'm most intrigued for Lanterns. I'm least intrigued for Clayface.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if nothing else, Lanterns is going to be a hilarious show with Guy Gardner involved.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I assume he'll only show up for a couple episodes, that sort of thing, and it'll be mostly the other two. But I'm very excited to see the buddy comedy aspect or whatever we've got going on between.
I mean, it's Jon Stewart, man. Come on.
Yeah, he's not comedic, but
it's Jon Stewart.
I just think now I've seen Aaron Pierre in Rebel Ridge, which is a movie I keep recommending.
Yes.
And he plays a largely serious character there as well, like Jon Stewart is in general. But then he just has these little moments. I just think of this moment in Rebel Ridge where he's like, "Oh yes, I will come and cooperate," and then he goes, "Nah," and throws the phone. Just the delivery.
Terrence Rosemore was in Rebel Ridge. Otis.
Oh, see, I told you he's in everything.
Yeah, he was in Rebel Ridge.
All right. Any final thoughts on the DC state of the DCU, the future of the DCU?
Yeah, let me just say, I think Peacemaker was a great season. This was John Cena should get some sort of recognition. Danielle Brooks also should get some sort of recognition for the job that they did in this season. Overall, I think the DCU looks very promising right now.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. I think that James Gunn has done such a fantastic job with the DCU so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing what other creators have to contribute to the DCU. So all these projects with all of these fantastic names attached, all these great creative people, I can't wait to see what they cook up with that.
Yeah, agreed. Well, if you want to hear our coverage of previous episodes or previous DCU and DCEU episodes, please check out the show notes where you'll find links. And we will, of course, be back to cover the titles we talked about above as well when they come out. And Jean, you and I have been talking about a January 2026 Versus preview.
Yes. And yeah, we'll be talking about it more, and we'll have more to say about that soon.
Yeah. So we'll definitely be back in your ear with more DC. In the meantime, Marvel fans, there will be Marvel Zombies coverage coming still this month. We wanted to wait until we could wrap up Peacemaker. And Wonder Man has been moved to January now, which honestly I think is better.
Yeah, so do I. And another show that I'm intrigued by.
Yeah. The trailers we've seen look great, but it does look like this is one of those that Marvel is just kind of dumping. Maybe a binge drop. Like,
I don't think it's a binge drop.
No, they've been vague about it. They just said premiering January 27th, I think was the date. Which kind of to me made it, and I think other people have also assumed it was a binge drop, but they have not clarified on that yet. So we'll see. Aaron, what's going on in Radioactive Ramblings?
We are currently doing coverage of Gen V, and we have broken it up into 3 parts. So we have episodes 1 through 4. We have I believe it's 5, 6, 7 episode, or 5 and 6 episode coming out very soon, and then we're going to wrap up 7 and 8 into 1 episode when the finale comes out as well. So we have really been enjoying the season now that we're into it.
Yeah.
They've been doing a much better job than I think the main boys series has, so I'm loving it.
It may even get an honorable mention for me at the end of the year.
Yeah, this last episode was,
Yeah. I think all the actors especially are doing such a fantastic job.
Yeah, I love the cast of Gen V. That's the thing, is they got me invested in the characters, whereas the boy characters, I'm like, I don't care, kill them all.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, thank you, Aaron, again for the art for this, and thank you so much for joining us this season to talk about all this. We've loved it. Speaking for Jean, but I think he agrees.
I agree.
Well, thank you so much for having me on this season. This has been a blast. I love Peacemaker, and I love chatting with you guys, so this has been great.
Thank you. Check out the link in the show notes for more of Aaron on Radioactive Ramblings, and you'll also find in the link tree in the show notes links to all the affiliates, including Nevermind the Music, where psychology meets music. There's going to be in November an episode talking about Superman and Hope Punk coming up. There's also Properly Howard just wrapped up their Bacon Wrap season, so watch out for more from them soon on their hilarious movie reviews. We'll Shift Dust, Frankenstein Time, going back to Dune after that, the Star Wars Canon Timeline podcast. You can find that link there as well. And I even heard rumblings that maybe there's some movement on the next season of Rings and Rituals. So,
ooh, nice.
Discussion on the Discord. What's going on in the main Lorehounds feed, Jean?
So that's Spooktober, and it's Weapons, which if you haven't seen it, you should see it, especially in this season. David's got some more episodes planned, like Going Jurassic with Tansy Gardam and the Heath Death guys. There's also the upcoming One Battle After Another with David and Anthony. I wasn't able to join, unfortunately, but we're gonna get. I'm gonna give my thoughts on that.
He said he's going to rope you in, and then I think he ended up also recording. Maybe I don't want to speak for him, but I think there might be more on One Battle After Another coming to the feed too. Yeah,
yes, there's going to be more, so look out for that because there's a lot of opinions of that movie, and yeah, it's all good stuff. Del Toro's Frankenstein episode is coming in November. And also on the Peacemaker feed, we'll have the Marvel will be added soon. You can find those episodes on the main Lorehound feed.
Yeah. So if you're joining us from the Peacemaker feed, welcome. And we're glad to have you. You can find Marvel and everything else we're talking about in the main Lorehounds feed. But yeah, we'll be added to that one soon too. If you have feedback that you want to send about this, we'll find another episode to incorporate it into. You can send it to comicsvs@thelorehounds.com. You can also jump into the Discord. You'll find a link to that in the link tree in the show notes, where there's a DC forum with spoiler chats per episode of this show, plus different chats for the different DC stuff. But then there's a boys forum where we're also have a Gen V chat. There's obviously Marvel, just all the stuff we're talking about. You can find dedicated chats there and lots of lively discussion. And if you enjoyed this, you can do us a huge free favor just by sharing this episode with anyone else who is interested in a deeper discussion into Peacemaker. Ratings and reviews, particularly positive ones, of course, are extremely appreciated. You have no idea how helpful they are. Thank you so much, though, to all of our listeners, whether or not you do these things. We're just really glad to be able to hang out with you. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for inviting us into your ear holes. And there's also, if you want to get a bit deeper into the community, there are the Supercast and Patreon feeds. They're the same for both. It just depends which platform you prefer. They give you ad-free access to our podcasts and bonus content. And there's also other shows that have season passes, like the Alien Earth season pass. David's still releasing episodes for that. He did just release one that was on the public feed too. Deep dive into the music with Mark. But also, deep dives into Peter Pan and things like that. And What You Watchin', Great British Bake Off edition with Marilyn and Bob came out this morning as we're recording for subscribers. So
nice.
Watch out for film festival news and stuff like that coming up. And of course, we are in the middle of Spooktober. We've got a pumpkin and squash second breakfast out for subscribers. And we've recorded, and I just have to edit and release, which will be shortly after this. We're doing our Zach Krieger horror trilogy for this year's Spooktober. So as Jean mentioned, weapons will be in the public feed. But before that, we have a lore down between Barbarian and Companion for subscribers. So this was the IP vote, or the trilogy voted on by subscribers. We have votes every month. Next month will be David's month. Topics are Pie and Robert Redford. All right. So I forgot to load music. Does anyone want to make music?
No. Y'all heard me sing already.
All right. I'll just sing it. Thank you, Discord server, boosters, Aaron K, Tiller the Thriller, Duve71, Athena, Jalea, Lestu, Nancy M, Ghost of Perdition, Radioactive Richard, Adrian. All right, I'll stop. Thank you to our highest tier of subscribers, our lore masters, Samarsh and Michael G, Michelle E, Brian P, SC, Peter OH, Adam S, Nancy M, Duve71, Brian 8063, Frederick H, Sarah L, Gareth C, Matthew M, Sarah M, Andrew B, Kwang Yu, Jedi Jedi Bob, Nathan T, Sub-Zero, Aaron K, Deli V, Mothership 61, Gnarls, Kathy W, Listu, Nick Jeffrey B, Elysia U, Neil F, Ben B, Scott F, Stephen N, Julia F, Collie S, Ilmariel, / Tim, Paul K, Rocky Zim, Jessica H, Red Zippy, the TCS, Skip Intro, and always last, Adrian. Thank you. And any final thoughts, Aaron?
Just that hearing my name so many times really highlights that I'm just a fan who weaseled his way in somehow.
And we're so glad that you did.
Yes, we are.
And Jean?
Oh, yeah. Today's the 18th of October, and if you're out and you're hearing about no kings, there's only one king I support. His name is T'Challa. Kevin Feige. Recast T'Challa. Damson Idris is T'Challa. Let's go.
The Lorehounds podcast is produced and published by The Lorehounds. You can send questions and feedback and voicemails at thelorehounds.com/contact. Get early and ad-free access to all Lorehounds podcasts at patreon.com/thelorehounds. Any opinions stated are ours personally and do not reflect the opinion of or belong to any employers or other entities. Thanks for listening.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
All right. Can spiders fly?
No.
Yes, they can, using electricity.
What?
Yes, electricity. They fly off of electricity. Can spiders make milk?
No.
Yes, they can.
What?
Yeah.
They can make milk? Do they have udders? How do they do that?
They have little tiny udders. Yeah,
No.
definitely. You can buy spider milk, you know that, right?
What? Where?
Yeah, at Whole Foods. Have you been studying spiders?
Yeah, I know everything there is to know about spiders.